What's something 85% of employees experience that costs companies billions every year? It's workplace conflict. Now, workplace conflict, something most of us dread, could be the secret ingredient to your company's success. This sounds counterintuitive, but stick with me to the end because today we're flipping the script on conflict, exploring how it can be a powerful tool for growth for your company. Conflict isn't inherently bad, but it's how we handle it that matters. Hey, everybody, welcome back to the POV Podcast. Our vision is to harness the power of business to create positive change, lasting impact on people, communities, and the world. Our mission: empower 1 million business owners each month to transform their mindset, avoid failure, and grow effectively. Please like and subscribe. Please comment. We love to hear from you. All right, we're in season 2, and this season is all about company culture. Last episode, we talked about decision-making strategies for small business owners, and more specifically, the fear of making decisions and how it can affect your company culture. This episode, we're talking about workplace conflict and how it can be good for business. So let's talk about and understand what causes workplace conflict. Number one, and this blew my mind when I saw this, is lack of trust at 73%. Number two is personality clashes, which I thought would be probably number one next to communication. That's 72%. Number three, unclear roles. I see this every day in companies that we work with. And then workplace stress is 60%. And then poor communication is last at 55%. I really thought it would have been communication first and then personality conflicts. So that's what causes workplace conflict. Now, what are the consequences of unresolved conflict? Let's jump into that. Number one, it's decreased morale and heightened stress. Number two, employee turnover and reduced productivity. Number three, toxic work environments. Now, did you know that suicide is highest on Mondays? Think about that for a moment. When I first heard that, that really, really kind of pushed me back a little bit. Very sad, but it's true. And then I'm sure you guys have all heard about this, but there's this thing called the Sunday blues. And it's because Monday's coming and people get depressed about going into work. And honestly, it's because there's some work environments that really suck and it really, really drains and affects people. So, all right. Now, conflict isn't the villain. It's an opportunity for transformation. And that's what we want to talk about today when it's handled constructively. Now, I've said this many times, but I grew up in construction and it seemed like almost every day there was a conflict. There's always somebody yelling. I could tell you story after story after story. At one point, I had one guy, I was in a tractor, strapped in a tractor, and I had a guy come in, stand on the bucket of the tractor and put his finger in my chest, and he wanted to battle. Multiple times I had to break up employee issues. There was always something in construction when it came to conflict. Now, I learned early I had to learn, I could not shy away from it. And I learned early I had to address it the correct way because you never want to escalate it because you could literally come to blows every single day in the construction industry if that's what you wanted to do. So here's another example. Had a leadership meeting. This is quite a few years ago. Was addressing my leadership team. There was about 8 or 9 of us there. And I was just talking about tardiness because there was 2 to 3 people that showed up late pretty much consistently every day. It was only 5 to 7 minutes late. One guy every day, 7 minutes late. I wanted to address that because it was what they were showing the people that reported to them that I wanted to bring up to them. And I wanted them to tighten it up a little bit. Well, in that conversation, I'd actually made eye contact with somebody sitting across from me. And this person wasn't even one of the people that had the issue. Well, the moment I made eye contact, that person kind of blurted out, got really defensive and started just kind of going off on the whole conversation. It was really out of line. And so immediately after that meeting was over, I held that person back. I pulled in HR because this was a teaching moment for this person. They needed to understand that, number one, even if it was about them and they felt guilty about it or they took issue with it, man, there's a time and a place. And they needed to understand how to handle this situation correctly. So from my perspective, this was a teaching moment for that person. And then in another situation, very similar, had the leadership team together talking about strategic planning and some other stuff. And there was a person that just was very combative, and specifically at me. They were taking issue with me. And again, after the meeting was over, pulled them aside, brought in HR and said, listen, if you got a problem with me, let's have that conversation. But man, you cannot do what you just did in front of the whole team because it's a culture issue. If you got a problem with me, let's talk about it. So it was a coaching moment for me. It was a teaching moment for me for this person to say, listen, if you've got issues, great. Maybe you just have a bad attitude for the day, and that's fine. But man, you gotta be able to read the room, and you gotta be able to manage this better. So it was a great teaching moment on both occasions. Both instances were resolved quickly because I did not wait or fail to address it head on. When you wait, it will get ugly. All right, let's talk about reframing conflict as an opportunity. Now, again, think about this from a leadership perspective. Conflict is a chance to mentor teams, individuals, and foster growth. It's really about coaching up, teaching people how to handle themselves better. So, in the previous examples, the previous scenarios, resolving a tense meeting by engaging an employee privately. So, again, pull them aside, settle them down. And there might be moments where you have to actually give somebody time where you could address it the next day, but it needs to be the first thing in the morning the next day. It has to be addressed. You cannot let time go by. All right. Actionable strategies for leaders. Number one, you have to set clear expectations, and you should do this in the onboarding. Whenever I meet with a new employee, it's always, this is my expectation for your behavior. This is my expectation for the culture. And I always emphasize how we protect the culture. Set the expectations early. And then you have to define what's acceptable up front to minimize misunderstandings. Nobody should be 6 months into a job and not understand what's acceptable and what's not acceptable. So think about that. And then you have to address issues quickly. I said this previously, but resolve conflicts before they escalate further. You have to address it quickly. You cannot let time go by. And then you need to foster open communication. You need to have an environment where employees feel safe to communicate and to vent and but they can vent, but it needs to be done in the right way. And they need to feel safe to come to their direct report or to you or to HR if there's issues. And then invest in emotional intelligence training. Man, I love EQ. I think it's the best thing, not only just for individuals, but for a company. You have to equip managers and individuals with tools to navigate conflicts effectively. And it's going to teach them how to see themselves, and it's going to teach them how to see others correctly and better. So, and then lastly, use mediation when necessary. If there's a conflict that's pretty tense and pretty out of hand, and there's some heightened emotions, even if you address it quickly, if you need to, bring in a mediator. There's nothing wrong with that, but you have to address it. All right. Benefits of healthy conflict management. Number one, enhance creativity through diverse perspectives. People feel safe. They want to contribute. They want to have open dialogue. You have to create that environment. And then also improve decision making by reducing groupthink. If people feel free to voice their opinions and to voice what they're thinking, what's going on with ideas, it's a better environment. And then stronger team cohesion and trust among colleagues. You know, one of the things that we do here at Boost really well is that we collaborate really well. And that's because we have set the tone for that. All right. Better communication practices that strengthen company culture. Again, you got to give people the opportunity to speak their mind. You have to create an environment that's good and healthy, and it's not toxic for stuff like that. And then personal growth and professional development for employees. Touched on this earlier for emotional intelligence training. That's by far my favorite. It's by far the most bang for your buck in terms of investment. All right. So take action. I challenge you to reflect on your approach to workplace conflict. Are you a leader? Are you a business owner that shies away from it? Do you avoid it? I'm telling you, if you do this, it will affect your company in a negative way. You cannot avoid these tough conversations, and you cannot just pretend like it didn't happen. You have to address it, because by allowing it, you're sending a message to everybody what they can get away with, and that's not okay. You have to set the expectation, and you have to set the tone as the leader. Now, I want to provide some actionable steps. Evaluate your leadership style, schedule team check-ins, or invest in emotional intelligence training, which I've said multiple times. At the end of every meeting, I always try to ask the people that I'm meeting with, what's going on? Is there anything I can do for you? How can I help you? Is there anything you want to talk about? Is there anything that I'm doing that's bothering you? I always want to give them an open invitation, an open dialogue, an opportunity to talk to me. And there's some things that might be inappropriate, and if it comes up, I'll stop that quickly. I don't want to open up the environment for complaining, but I do want to open up the culture and the environment to have an open dialogue. And there's a fine line there. So, all right, I hope this was valuable. I hope you reflect on your leadership, and I hope you really think about conflict differently. Remember, it's not about you and it's not about avoidance. It's a teaching moment for you as a business owner and a business leader to coach and mentor your team and to teach them how to do things better. Remember, we're all human, and interpersonal communication and conflict, it's a big thing. And the better you can get at it, the better you're going to do in life and the better your company's going to do. So check us out at thepovpodcast.com for more insights and download our free mini ebook, The Mindset Shift, How Successful Business Owners Think Differently. And a closing reminder, conflict isn't about right or wrong. It's about creating an environment where diverse perspectives thrive and drive innovation. Don't be scared to address conflict, and don't be scared to address it quickly and early on. Thank you to our sponsor, Boost USA, project management and professional services consultancy. Boost USA will help streamline your organization while helping you build the internal infrastructure to grow and scale your business. The link will be in the description below. Thank you, and we will see you next time.